Hello everyone, this is Brandon from CryptoSkim, CryptoSkim.com. I'm just putting out a video here. Sometimes it's easier for me to gather my thoughts and put something out just in a conversation, other than typing up a blog and sending that out in production. So I might supplement from time to time some videos to be able to get some information out to you guys. Lot going on, like there always is in the crypto space. And at the end of this, I want to show you some charts that I'm looking at that's playing into why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. Yeah, so man, it's crazy right now, right? If you're new to crypto, you're probably like, what is all this drama? I've been excuse me, I've been in this space now for 3-4 years, and it's just been like that from the get-go. It's just been generally I don't like drama in my life. I try to keep pretty much drama free, but I allow some drama in my life with cryptocurrency world because there's money to be made, right? So opportunities. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about all this ICO hype stuff, and then I want to talk about what's going on with the latest correction with cryptocurrencies. But yeah, man, it's crazy out there right now. There's a lot of stuff on Twitter. Man, people are getting just like nasty and crazy and fear, and we went from greed to fear now. How fast it can turn, and just a lot of outrageous claims and a lot of outrageous opinions. I mean, some of them might be right, who knows, but yeah, anyway, Twitter is like nutso butso right now. But I want to talk about this ICO business. It's really picked up steam in the last few months, especially with Ethereum coming online with the institutional investors, really big money coming into the space. All of a sudden it became very attractive for everybody to create a DApp or decentralized application running on the EVM or the Ethereum virtual machine. And so I just want everybody to, I think you should already know that you should use caution with a lot of these ICOs. Understand what happened with the DAO a while ago. I talked about that on a podcast that I did with Jack on the Survival Podcast, thesurvivalpodcast.com. If you're not familiar with TSP, it's an amazing community. It's changed my life. But anyway, we talked about the DAO exploit or the DAO bug. And that was the first and a really big, people called it a hack. At one point the DAO amassed an amount of money worth about $160 million worth of Ether. And a hacker got control of a large part of that. Anyway, there's going to be more of that. Okay, there's going to be another DAO. So, I think some of that stems from things that I heard about. I'm not a developer, but the way I understand it is Solidity, the programming language that they use to create these dApps, has issues with formal verification, and formal verification is very expensive and computationally intensive, as I understand it. So there's bugs that you might not see. The code might compile and run, but there's a lot of attack surfaces. So there's other devs and people pointing that out. And sometimes it can be really hard to understand what is, like, people that hate Ethereum just trying to bash it. They know their stuff, but they've got all these different incentives and agendas, and like I said, Twitter's crazy right now. And just know, there's no reason why, just because they have a white paper and a small group of devs that threw together a GitHub and a flashy website with some sliders and some cool marketing, that it should be worth $200 million valuation in 3 hours because of a ICO crowdfund. So, these things, they have an event, they have a horizon, and they're going to go dark for a little while, right? They're going to get their crowd money, then they're going to go into development mode. They're going to try to build this promise that they've given us on this nice website with these flashy sliders. And some of them will succeed, I hope. And I think some of them are going to fail. And I think the ones that are not capping their their crowdfunding campaigns, where they're just like leaving it open and just raking in tons of cash. I think it's extremely irresponsible. Yeah, I try to look for ones that have a very defined path and goal and roadmap. And you should only need as much money as you think you need to get to the next stage, right? And then you'll reassess and fund after that. But if you just open the door and the money floods in, I mean, how efficiently you're going to spend that money, and what's the plan? So you can only fake customers and products for so long before the gig is up. So we'll see. This is kind of the first batch of this newer ICO model, and it's really, really interesting. So we'll see what happens here, and all of us that have invested here and there. But be careful. I like to. Right now, I'm a little more conservative. I'm kind of sticking with real products that are already developed, and then I'll get in at that stage and decide if I want to invest or not. And I'll actually be able to use the product and test it out and see what they're doing and see what other people are saying about how they like their product or their service or whatever. So just something else to think about. Be again aware of FOMO, or fear of missing out. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for years to come in this space, so keep your powder dry, maybe. So it's like a free money environment right now for any group that can get together some devs, crank out a white paper, and throw some stuff, like I said, on GitHub and create a flashy website. It's like, why wouldn't you go out and get $200 million or even $10 million or $3 million? That's a crazy amount of money to get in a short amount of time. And I could see how it could be very, very tempting for any group of people to go do that. And so they might not be outright trying to scam people, but they might just have a terrible plan, and it might just be bad for everyone and not work out, and everybody will lose money. So yeah, something to think about. I just want to put that out there with the ICO stuff. I know sometimes I put out information about ICOs on the skims that I put out, but it's just stuff that I see that I think sounds interesting. By no way am I endorsing it or saying that you should invest in it. And I don't invest in half the things that I talk about. I just think they're interesting. Some of them I do, and some of them I don't. And I leave everybody else to use their own brains and to decide the rest for themselves. But the other things I want to talk about, I talked earlier about the drama. There's always drama. I've been around for a while now, and I saw Mt. Gox go down, and that was the end of Bitcoin. Sure as heck. Everybody, that was the end. Roll it up, man. Shut off the lights. That's it. It's done. 2013 was the death of Bitcoin, right? And then there was all kinds of things. This probably isn't in order, but there was the Bitfinex hack. I lost some money in the Bitfinex hack. That was a really big deal. Oh my God, a large exchange got hacked, after Mt. Gox. Like, this just keeps happening. This is bad for Bitcoin. It's the end of Bitcoin, and all cryptocurrencies. We can't trust it and all this. And there's the, everybody a lot of people heard about the DAO bug or exploit or hack or whatever you want to call it. I remember seeing that, and I was a part of that too, seeing that whole thing happen. And so again, people were saying that was the death of cryptocurrencies. Developers coming out, like Mike Hearn saying, Bitcoin is dead, and another crash ensued after that. People are like, oh, he was right, and then all this business about finding Satoshi Nakamoto or not finding Satoshi Nakamoto. They ruined that poor gentleman's life in LA, Dorian Nakamoto. And then this Craig Wright character that comes out and claims he's Satoshi Nakamoto. Who knows? But it hasn't been proven yet. And all the media obituaries, that the Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is dead. I mean, there's a really cool video that's got music to it, and it just shows like all the headlines, and there's just like, it looked like there's like 100 of them. But so anyway, we're coming up to possible, we got the possible stalemate / fight coming up. We could get a coin split. So a lot of people are freaked out about that. I'm a little anxious about that too. Everybody is. And so that's just the next notch in the drama, the wheel here. It just keeps on going. And so there's a couple different ways that you could play that just real quick, down and dirty. Some people I've heard say they're going to go into alts, altcoins. That's another way that you could avoid being affected by the chain split. I don't know if that's a very good idea, because if the SS Bitcoin whatever goes down, it's going to take all the other boats down with it for the most part, I would assume. But it's really hard to predict how this thing happens or how markets are going to behave. All these random events of people that come together that make a market. It's hard to say when we go off the rails and it's not a predictable pattern anymore, and we're in uncharted territory. There's a lot of fear, a lot of emotion, a lot of greed, a lot of fear. It's hard to say if everybody will pile into another altcoin to hide from the effects of Bitcoin, or if they'll all go down. Everybody will bail out of everything back into cash and try to sell. I would probably assume that the latter might happen. People might just try to get into cash, and so I think that's another thing that people are doing right now. They're going into cash, and we're seeing some of that again on this correction as well. So they both got their pros and cons. With the cash, of course, tax event occurs, you got to pay tax on that, but that might be a small price to pay for which you could lose. Again though, but with the Ethereum, when they had their coin split, it came back, but I'm not saying that it's going to be that way for Bitcoin this time around. It's very different. You never know how it's going to be for different cryptocurrencies. So in the long term, I don't think cryptocurrency is going away. I think it's just getting started still, and it's as volatile as any 7-year-old is. What was it, 2009? Yeah, or 10-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever. There's going to be many more opportunities to come, I believe, in this space. So don't get so caught up into all this stuff, and you got to get in the latest ICO, whatever it is. So anyway, I just want to take a minute to talk about that stuff, and then I also just want to show you some things that are playing into my thought process here as well. So there's two sides of trading. There's fundamental analysis or whatever, looking at companies, looking at teams, looking at products, looking at balance sheets, whatever, looking at the metrics and making your decisions on that. And then there's technical analysis, which is like this chart here, where it talks about the history, which tells the story. And I think that they work really well together. And so there's a lot of patterns here that repeat themselves, and there's trends for those that aren't familiar with technical analysis. Here's the 5-year pattern with Bitcoin. Here was the Mt. Gox run up and subsequent crash, and then tried to come back up, and just kept going down, 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 down. Oh, we might go back high, blah, blah, down, down, down. Very, very depressing year for all of you that were in crypto. If you remember, every day it was a new bad headline. It was very depressing just to watch your portfolio go down, 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 down. But I was buying all the way down here because I kept checking, going, is there anything wrong with the protocol? Is there anything wrong with Bitcoin? No, still works as good as it did yesterday. All right. And so I kept buying. And around here we reached capitulation, got into some consolidation, and we bottomed out on that bear, that long bear trend. And then we started this bull run. And we go to the year, and here you can kind of see it spiking up above 1,000 again, retesting the Mt. Gox highs, going back down, breaking through the Mt. Gox highs, and going back down again, and then this steady bull run all the way up. And so there's a trend that I still see that still kind of holds on this last bull run. And it's not perfect, but we got a little breakthrough there, but for the most part, this trend is still holding. So I'm still kind of holding in a pattern here to see what's going to go on. I'm a long-term holder of different altcoins, but I'm also a trader too. So I make money off this volatility, right? So most people are buy and holders, and they just want something that's going to go up in value over time, and maybe at some point they're going to cash out or spend it, or however that's going to work. Yeah, it's different than a trading mentality. But so if I see something drop down, I don't want to do a call out actually. if I see something drop down, like say in this range here, you know, it comes down, retests this trend, bounces up, and then breaks through pretty strong and gets like say sub 2K, sub 2,000, then I would consider exiting my position, because I think there's a lot of room before we would reach support again. We might not reach support until 1,000. There might be some bounce plays here to play, but I would probably get out of the way all the way down to 1,000. I would expect a bounce, because that's a real psychological level. We might get another bounce again around the Mt. Gox highs, because that happened a couple times. But so I'm still watching this trend, and right now I'm looking for it to pull back up. If I take a look at one of these Fibonacci tools here, you go from the bottom, you know, up to the top, and the next retracement, major retracement, you know, a lot of times it'll bounce off this 38 level, and if it doesn't, it goes back up, comes back down and tests this level. See, it goes up. Here's a sweet spot, kind of people talk about, somewhere between 618 or 778 Fibonacci retracement levels, and it goes up and touches that level and comes back down and rolls over. So anyway, I use some of these tools to kind of determine what I think might happen, and it's hard to tell what is going to happen, but I guess I'm kind of getting out there a little bit. But so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to look for some major breakdown, back down off this trend line, sub 2,000, and then I'm going to roll out of it for a while. You know, I had been profit taking along the way. You know, I pulled out half of my Ethereum position about a month ago and went into cash, and I'm now back down to the level about where I pulled out. So if I get down below that quite a bit, I might, you know, re-enter again with that money to reinvest. I just have to assess the situation when we get there. But I don't want this to go too long, but I just kind of wanted to let you know where I'm at. I'm still holding a lot of things. I'm playing around. You know, some of my altcoins I'm going back and forth into Bitcoin just to make some money. Like the last couple days, I've been using my Factum holdings. And you know, like last night I picked up a nice, you know, 4.25% gain. I set up a trade. I pulled some fib levels, and I saw a bounce play that would happen around this level, and it dropped down and fulfilled my order, and I bounced back up and was able to make a nice, you know, almost 5% return while I was sleeping. So you know, I'm flipping my stuff back and forth, using things that I bought. You know, I got into a lot of these really pretty cheap. You know, I got into Ethereum at $1, I got into Dash around $1, I got into Factum at $1. A lot of these I got into at about $1, so it's kind of easy. It's free money for me to play with. So if I lose it, it's not. It would be sad, but it wouldn't be. It's not money I'm counting on or living off of. So it's just stuff that I'm trying to roll into something here in the future. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at right now. Getting back to this longer trend. If it breaks down, gets down into this level, I am going to probably roll out of my position. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to put out a regular skim here in the next day or two. It's been a crazy week. We've had some family medical emergencies, so I'm a little behind. But, and of course there's all this, you know. So yeah, thanks again for staying with me, and I'll do my best to get you the best information that I have. And yeah, good luck to everybody out there. Try to take a deep breath. Don't get too caught up in this. You know, hopefully you didn't invest more than you can afford to lose in the first place, like we always preach about. Jack and I, everybody, this podcast, and any good upstanding person in the crypto space should be telling you that. So just remember that, you know, if you lose anything, it's just stuff that you could afford to lose anyway. But anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. Thanks again. This is Brandon from CryptoSkim. Have a good night.